folks, how you doing? So that was a little bit of Memphis Minnie's Kissin' in the Dark, really cool tune from the very tail end of her career. So as you'll see, I'm playing my old Gibson L50 for that one, and this guitar is also fitted with the old guitar microphone, the Armand FHC pickup. It's quite a strange arrangement, sort of screwed. It's removable, but it's screwed in behind the bridge here with the volume control and a place to plug in, and then the pickup itself just floats around there. It is movable, but it's a little awkward because we have this bar here, sometimes referred to as the monkey on a stick for this reason, and this bar holds the pickup, which allows it to slide along. It's a little awkward getting used to playing with it there, because obviously your thumb might tend to hit that, and that's real bad. That aside, the thing about this pickup and this guitar obviously is that they are vintage, and they create the sound that's a lot closer to what was on these recordings. So you get this lovely creamy, let me see. Very desirable tone for this music. However, this guitar is tuned a whole step down to D. So to make it a bit easier, assuming that if you're using a regular guitar and regular tuning, it might be a little confusing because I'm going to be in a different position to you. So let's switch guitars and I'll teach the lesson with a regular guitar. Okay. Amazing. Here we are. Onto the Jazzmaster now in regular tuning. Okay, so for our purposes, we're in the key of B flat. The original recording was in C. And from what I've seen of Memphis Minnie's back catalogue and looking at the way she played the guitar, because she was a singer, she didn't want to be perhaps roaming around the fretboard as a lead guitarist might do, because she had to hold down the vocals. So it's a lot better for her to play kind of root position chords, and that would allow her to hold down the rhythm, throw in lead fills, and hold down the vocals all at once. So for this tune, there's two approaches to the guitar. There's two guitars on the recording. The second backup guitar is Ernest Lawler, her third husband. And yeah, so let's look at this. Let's take one approach is to use root position chords. So we need to capo at the 3rd fret and play a G chord form. And that puts us in the key of B flat. Okay. So for this, let's just play a rudimentary accompaniment, the most basic way to comp along to this tune. So we're just playing a 12 bar in the key of B flat. So the first thing to do is to finger a G7 chord with your ring finger on the bass, your pinky on the B string, your index finger over there on the 7. Okay, and that allows you to with your thumb, kind of thumb and index finger technique there. And then with my other fingers, I might pick the D note on the pinky, and then the open E string, and then land on the 7. So that's the riff I'm playing there a lot. So you get down to the 4 chord, and on the 4 chord, what would normally be a C chord, we move, in this case it's E flat, we move the middle finger down a string, play the open G string, and then we step up with the pinky to the 7 of the 4 chord. So it's a walk, similar to the previous riff. Up to the 5 chord, and up here I just kind of tickle inside the chord with a 3-finger technique. 1, 4, 1, 5. Okay, so I'll just run that for you one time, just to cop it. Okay, so now let's look at a little thing that I put in It's not necessarily on Memphis Minnie's original recording, but it certainly is in keeping with the style of music that we're playing. And it's just a little bass idea. So I did this underneath my guitar solo on the backing track. You'll hear the rhythm guitar. Instead of playing that part, it switches to this more minimal bass line, just to free up some space in the mix for the lead guitar to occupy. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm using the G string as my pedal note with my index finger, and then with the thumb I'm walking from the G. I'm calling it a G chord. I know it's B flat, but we're in a G chord form, so let's not be too confusing here. Okay, so we're going to go G, open A string, B flat, walking up to B. So we're heading towards the 4 chord, you know, but we don't get there yet. And then we land on the 4 chord and we just keep that pedal going on the index finger, and we do the exact same move but down a string each. So from C, so this time we're walking onto the D string there, you see, here, and back to G. Okay, so all you're doing there is in between every note you play with your thumb, you add the index finger, so. Okay, so that should be pretty clear. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? I guess, yeah, you can throw in, if you want to embellish as you're playing the rhythm part, you know, you might want to throw in a little lead line here and there if you feel like it. And the great thing about this position is you've got access to all of that underneath the G chord here. So from the root note down there on your pinky, so from the 3rd fret E string, open G. Lots of possibilities there. You can also hit the 2nd fret as a passing note. All of those notes are available, but these notes in between, I wouldn't linger there too long because it's not technically where we want to be, but it's fine if you're just passing through and you get back home before they even know what's happened. Okay, so that's it for the accompaniment. That should be enough for that. In terms of the other guitar part, I like to take the capo off for that because you're going to be bending the strings a little bit, and the capo, what will happen is the strings will move under the capo and then they stay there and it'll be all squiff and might be out of tune. So now we're in B flat and we can just play the same riff here without the capo, just walking up to the 7 from the root position at the 6th fret. And that pinky is just walking on the B string from here, from the there like that, yeah. Landing on the 7. For the 4 chord, I tend to use that voicing to get this nice high 7. Five chord. And again there, just using the internal voicings of the 7 and the 3rd of the 1 chord. There's the 4 chord, 1, 5. Less is more approach. Okay. Okay, so going on with the solo, yeah, we take our B flat here at the 6th fret, and as I mentioned, you've got that the note that would be the 7 of the 4 chord up at the 9th fret on the E string, yeah? So the solo really begins there, just a 1-note solo over the 1 chord using that little quarter tone bend. So what he's doing there, or what she's doing there, is bending that note up a little bit and then releasing the bend and stepping up a tone. Bend, release, step up. It's very important you don't bend this note because we don't want the sound of the bent note there. We want an unbent high note and a bent note beneath. So just practice going. Just remember to release that bend as you step up to this note and then bend again. And then step off, and when you come out of that, it'll be landing somewhere around the 4 chord. The harmony underneath you will be on the 4 chords. So you come down from there, maybe land around this region, and then you want to do a similar thing, but you're going to bend here, just walking from this note here down the pentatonic scale, landing on the root note. And then after that sequence, it goes into this bend here at the 8th fret G string. You can land on the 5. If there's a little time left, you could something like that. You want to kind of time that little run at the end there to land in time with the 5 chord at the end of the 12 bar sequence. Okay, and finally just a little riff that's in the tune, buried in the mix quite a bit, but it is in there. It's kind of a Charlie Christian, T-Bone Walker signature riff, and it's really just the root chord. That's our framework, stepping from the minor third up, landing on the 7. You can walk it back down to the root. It's a nice circle that pattern makes. You don't have to use all of the notes. You can really just play around with that. You can just, what I like to do sometimes is a kind of Charlie Christian style pattern. So you walk diagonally down across the triad, then step up to the 6, and then walk back, landing on, well, it'd be a 13, wouldn't it? It'd be a B flat 13, that would outline. If you want to get jazzy with it. Okay, that's probably enough to get you started. Have fun with this, enjoy. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Cheers.